Hello my interior design family, and welcome to today's video where we're going to talk about disco glam or metallic maximalism, whichever one of those two you prefer to call it. But it is the season of parties. We're now in that festive season where we're inviting people to join us to celebrate and to have a good time in our homes. Now, you might decide to decorate your house in the classic red or a more calmer, healthy type of decor. And if you're that type of person, definitely find the other videos that I have created in this playlist going through the other types of design decoration for the festive season. But in this video, we're going to focus on the fun, the disco, the glam, the party, the luxury, the shimmy, the everything that is so fun about celebrating. And I have 7 steps to help guide you through how you can achieve this look in your home this season. So let's jump right into the first one. The first one is so exciting, and I'm so happy to tell you about it. It is disco balls, of course. Mirror ball magic. And what do I mean by that? I want you to feel brave enough to go and pick up shimmering disco balls of different sizes. Why should you have them in different sizes? Because you want to use some of the larger ones, for example, as decorative pieces that you can store near the tree or even under the tree, or in other sections of your house if you have the space on the floor, for example. So if you're a plant lover and you have a lot of plants in your house, you can definitely store some of those bigger ones in those areas. And then you use the other smaller ones for your Christmas tree, of course, that's a given, right? And then for the other small to medium sized ones, you could use those for your tablescape. So where your table runner goes, you can scatter a few of those beautiful disco balls and it just creates a very fun ambiance. Or you could use them in a tray on your coffee table to bring more of that shimmer and that glamour. So go and grab yourself disco balls of different sizes. I would go for the larger one, a medium one, and the smaller ones that you'll probably put on your Christmas tree. Now that we know about the disco mirror ball, let's go into the Christmas tree. Now, we are of course using those disco balls as well on the Christmas tree to bring in that glitz and that glamour. And this is where the metallic maximalism really comes in. So I want you to embrace metals. This is not a time to be scared or to be like, I only go for gold, I only go for silver. This is a time when you can have it all. And I want you to have it all this festive season. So I want you to go and get yourself some gold baubles, some bronze baubles, some silver baubles, some rose gold baubles, all the different types of metals that you can find and that you can think of. Grab them. And then, of course, grab them in different layers. And remember, you can grab some that are matte, some that are shimmery, and some that are glass. That just gives them more of a layered look. But definitely mix up your metals. This is not a time to only go for gold or only go for silver. Have it all. So this is why it's metallic maximalism. You can choose to only use the different metals if that's what you feel more comfortable with. Or you could also incorporate and include some of those smaller disco balls if you're definitely up for a party and creating a shiny and sparkly Christmas. And I think that this Christmas tree, of course, can be used on Christmas Day as well, and it can be the entire vibe of your home that season if you're hosting a lot of parties and you're just in that party festive mood. But if you're, for example, having Christmas and then you're hosting New Year's, this is a perfect New Year's tree. Now we've talked about the Christmas tree itself, let's talk about the next layer, which are the materials and the textures that we want to be bringing in when it comes to our small accessories. So I'm talking about our little cushions or our little throws or any other decorative pieces that you might have in your space. With Disco Glam, you want to go for sequins, you want to go for velvet, and of course you can choose which color of sequin you want to go for based on which one you like the most. You could go for silver, rose gold, but definitely adding in that element of a velvet brings in some luxury and as well as some coziness to your space, right? And for example, you could have, like, let's say you have two cushions, you could have one cushion in a very nice velvet finish that is festive, and then you have the second cushion in more of that sequin metallic finish, and that really brings your space together. And I want you to think of this as fashion. So you know how at a disco you'd be wearing sequins and things of that nature. I want you to embrace that same spirit when it comes to decorating your space. You're definitely decorating it like a disco, but of course you can choose to mute it, to turn up the volume depending on the number of metals that you use, right? And you can also turn down the volume by maybe sticking to a certain color. For example, you might just stick to rose gold, or you might just stick to one or two sequins colors, right? Or, you know, turn up the volume and have it all. But sequins and velvet are a very good idea when it comes to your small accessories. And of course, you can get yourself some velvet throws. You can also get yourself a sequin blanket or sequin throw to perch over your sofa, so there's just some sparkle with your sitting area as well, and it creates that coziness with sparkle, because I want you to get to have that sparkle this season. That brings us very nicely to the fourth step, which is your tablescape. Now, I already mentioned before that you can have those disco balls as part of your tablescape. So you can have candles and you can have some foliage such as evergreens or eucalyptus, and then you can throw and scatter in some of those disco balls on that table runner, and it will just look divine. Another thing you can do to turn up the volume on that tablescape for disco glam or metallic maximalism is, of course, using baubles of different metals as well, or going extra and even adding on some fairy lights, right? And that will definitely create a lot of sparkle, and everyone around you will be feeling that party vibe. You're in the party season. Grab yourself some champagne, some vodka, or whatever it is that you drink or don't drink, and just have a beautiful and amazing time with your friends and family. And don't forget that because this is a disco glam decoration, a festive decoration, we're not stopping at the tablescape. Most likely, if you're having this kind of metallic disco vibe to your house, you're probably inviting people in, and you're probably maybe hosting a New Year's party, right? That's where it fits perfectly for me, right? Hosting a New Year's party. So if that's you, then of course you want to decorate that tablescape beautifully, as we've mentioned, right? Like, as I've mentioned. But then we also don't want to forget the bar. If you have a bar, you definitely want to be bringing in those disco balls and scattering them around the bar. You could even have them hanging at the top from the ceiling, placing them wherever you can to bring in that sparkle. And of course, if you don't have a built-in bar, then you're most likely bringing in a bar cart, right? Full of your drinks and your shakers and all the tools, glasses and elements that you need. So of course you need glasses, but then when it comes to everything else, I want you to definitely mix up those metals, right? So go for silver, go for gold, go for bronze and brass, and mix up the metals of the shakers and spoons and everything else that you might need on your bar cart. And of course include some of those disco baubles on your bar cart so people can see it, they know where it is, plus it continues on with that festive feeling that you're trying to create, so you can have a fabulous and fantabulous party. And then I want to talk about the other decorative items. So we've talked about the Christmas tree, we've talked about the tablescape, and we've talked about the bar cart, right? Now let's talk about the garlands, right? Or the mantle, or if you're decorating your staircase with a garland. This is also a place you want to be bringing in that maximalism, right? I want you to look at this space, to look at your home this season as you would fashion. You're dressing up your home for a party in the same way you'd be dressing you up for a party, right? So I want you to have some of those disco balls hanging by your staircase, right? Hanging on your mantle with your garlands, right? If you don't want the disco balls, definitely use a different metal. So have a mixture of gold, brass, and all the different metallic baubles that you can find, so that you have that festive feeling to it. And you can even take it up a notch and even include feathers, right? And that just creates brings your disco to a completely different level. It elevates it by miles. You can have feathers there, feathers included in your garlands, feathers included in other places that you are decorating, like on your mantle, and that will just bring on more glam. And can you imagine having a vase, for example, and filling it up with some large feathers? It just makes it maximalist, right? It's a very maximalism vibe. It's very OTT and very over the top. But sometimes we do want that party that is over the top and big and grand and fun, so that we can enjoy and make precious memories with our family and with our friends. There are years when maybe we're celebrating big, and that is the way that we should go. And of course, if you would like something a little more subtle or a little more classic, then definitely check out the traditional red, classic traditional red Christmas decoration tips video that I created, that is part of this playlist. But otherwise, I'm going to leave you with one last pro designer tip when it comes to disco glam. And that tip is that you're going on a festive night out, and I want you to have the most fun that you can. After putting in all the effort to decorate your home, to watch this video, go and buy things and actually do the actual decorating, you deserve a fabulous time. And definitely be present and enjoy the party, enjoy the season. You want to be there, you want to remember it for many years to come, and to really connect with the people that are around you. So I really hope that sometimes I feel like being present can be quite hard in a world that is go, 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 and there's so much going on, and especially when it comes to something like, you know, disco and having everything so over the top and everything so shiny. It can make us feel a little more airy, right? But I want to encourage you that to remember the festive season and really be there with the people that love you, and the people that you love, and people that you're inviting. And yeah, so it's just to keep in mind to remember those festive memories and do whatever you can to actually create the headspace and the mental clarity to actually be present in these parties and this Christmas season. And with that, my darling, I wish you a lot of love this festive season, and enjoy it, enjoy the party, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.